I believe that everyone is creative and that our creativity is medicine, and not just for ourselves. It's our hope and our connection for a better world for all of us. I'm Ashley Riley, and this is Made of Dreams. Welcome to another episode of Made of Dreams. I'm your host, Ashley Riley, and I am so happy that you're here. As you may know, on this season of Made of Dreams, we are exploring thoughts and tips on living a creative life, being an artist, and all that goes along with it. And I'm sharing stories and things I've learned through my 15 plus years of being an indie artist. And we're getting a little help from the tarot cards, which is something I'm really loving right now. Just this morning, I did a beautiful birthday reading for myself. So today is Sunday, and my birthday is this coming Wednesday, and I just had a really quiet, slow morning, and I thought, I haven't checked in personally for a while, and I think it would be fun to do a tarot reading for myself after I did the reading for today's topic of the show, which is comparison and jealousy. So I looked up some birthday-specific spreads and found one called the Spiritual Birthday Tarot Spread. It was on tarotjournal.com, and let me tell you, I'm into signs and synchronicities, but I don't really talk to my guides or ancestors or anything like that on the regular. I know that we get little God winks and signs from the universe, and I'm always so happy to lean into that when I feel it. It's usually like upon reflection that I notice those things, but you do have to be open to miracles to notice them and receive them, I feel. So I try to be. But anyway, the cards in the spiritual birthday spread were as follows. There were 6. Card 1 was to represent a birthday message from my guides. Card 2 was a birthday message from my ancestors. Card 3 was how can I celebrate myself this year? Card 4 was how have I grown this year in a way that I can be proud of? Card 5 was what positive moment can I reflect on from this year of life? And the final card, card 6, was general wishes from my spirit team. And y'all, let me tell you, I was a little nervous because like I said, I don't really do that kind of reading, but I calmed myself down and I centered and I just said out loud each card's query as I did my pull. And I felt so held and supported by the cards that came up. In the context of guides and ancestors, each message just fit so perfectly and made so much sense. And I had tears streaming down my face from feeling so loved and allowing myself to feel that love. I mean, to really just sit there and receive that someone in the spirit world loves me. This is what they want me to know. It felt really beautiful and meaningful and was such a wonderful, magical morning that I just wanted to share that. I mean, sometimes I'll do like pull a card for each day of the week and then take a photo and then kind of look back and see if it made sense. And it was really cute. The other day I did that and I pulled a card of the day for Wednesday, which is my birthday. And I got the Chariot, which honestly, I took that as a little wink from the cards because I'm a Cancer sun and the Chariot card is associated with the sign of Cancer. So I was like, oh, how cute. The cards are kind of like winking at me in that way. So yay. And now it's time for a little segment I'm calling Weekly Obsession. Weekly Obsessions, where I'm sharing anything that's lighting me up right now because sharing is caring. And I care about you. So this week, I'm loving, I just took a trip with my family to Black Mountain, North Carolina over the 4th of July, and we had the best time. The perfect amount of doing and chilling, and we saw mountains and fireworks and bears, oh my, and so many cute little shops and local artisans and restaurants and coffee shops. My son and I even took a pottery wheel class. It was the best. So I loved that. But while we were traveling, I finally read Dinner for Vampires by Bethany Joy Lenz. And I'm still thinking about it. So she played Haley Scott on the show One Tree Hill. And she wrote a book called Dinner for Vampires, Life on a Cult TV Show while also surviving an actual cult. And so anyway, I bought her book when it first came out and I never got around to reading it. So I packed it for this trip and it was the perfect read. It's about how she was in a high control cult pretty much the whole time she was filming One Tree Hill. Now, I'm not a true crime fan. I don't like murders and graphic things, but I do find myself really intrigued by why and how people get wrapped up into cults and behavior. I guess the psychology side of it. And this one was kind of maddening at times, but in a way where I couldn't put it down. I think it's because the way it's written, it's painted by her now knowledge that this was a cult. And it's just the strangest scenario in a way because she was uber religious, but on this teen soap opera and seemed to be so much like the character you would never have thought this. But also, she kind of owns up to the fact that her religious friends, aka fellow cult family, felt like they kind of had a superiority over everyone else and how they were really programmed to think that they were going to change the world and they were so far ahead of everyone else. It was basically so they would give their autonomy over to this quote unquote pastor. And it was just super interesting. It's hard to imagine believing all of that, but I think the way that she was kind of broken down so gradually, and maybe the fact that she was vulnerable and lonely was a big factor. If you liked One Tree Hill, if you like Bethany Joy Lenz, then you might like that book. You might find it interesting or sad, I don't know. Anyway, I'd love to hear what's lighting you up. What are you reading? What are you listening to? Feel free to let me know over on Instagram at Made of Dreams Podcast. And now I'm going to go ahead and get into this week's topic, which is the energy behind jealousy and comparison. Another light topic, but something that I think we can't ignore in today's world, where it's really normal to be such voyeurs of each other's lives. We click and we pin and we share and we save, and the algorithm feeds us more and more, and we consume, and before you know it, you're rolling your eyes at people who used to inspire you. That's how I know I'm overloaded. When I almost get annoyed by people that I used to look forward to their post. But sometimes I think it's binge culture. Like, if I really like a podcast, sometimes I'll listen to a bunch of episodes if I'm driving somewhere. And if I do that for too long, I feel like I've kind of hit my limit and then I need something else. And so I'll drop in and out with the things I like in that way. And I have found that this is why I think binge culture, like if I just listen to a podcast weekly as they come out, I anticipate it like I used to. Shows like One Tree Hill or whatever I was watching at the time. I don't get to that like needing a break. So thinking about that has really changed my behavior on how I interact with things that I like. I don't get like that with music, but maybe because I can sing along and hear different things each time. And I don't know, I just kind of relate to music differently than TV and podcasts, but just a little interesting observation. Comparison, jealousy, it's pretty natural. It's kind of human nature in a way to compare. And I also think it can spark our competitiveness if it's something that we want. But I have this reframe that I like to do. And this term in particular came from years ago listening to Lacey Phillips of To Be Magnetic speak about manifestation. And she termed the people that you look up to and are jealous of as expanders. And I liked how that felt. Thinking that if you're envious of something, it's because it calls to you in a way of something that you want. And they should serve as an expander of what is possible for you. That it's a mirror. And that reframe has become a really natural way of thinking for me. And I have to say, it's much more fun of an energy to be in when you're cheering other people on instead of feeling jealous. In my job as a stylist, I took a course on gua sha. What's that? Well, you've probably seen all the people on Instagram using rollers and stones in their skincare. That's based on gua sha, a traditional Chinese medicine practice that has been used for centuries to help people feel better. Wildling was created to support overall well-being with beauty solutions grounded in the connective force of plants, stones, and the cosmos. It was founded by 3 women, an acupuncturist, herbalist, and holistic esthetician. And let me tell you, the stones really are magic. They're made from sustainable Bien stone, which has over 40 minerals known for their healing properties. My favorite gua sha of all time is their Empress Stone, which fits perfectly in your hand and it helps to depuff your face and smooth out those fine lines and wrinkles. It's the perfect Botox alternative. And I always carry their Empress wand in my bag to help melt away jaw tension or get rid of headaches before they get bad. If you're interested in gua sha and want to try it out, head over to wildling.com, WILDLING.com, and use the code Ashley10 for 10% off of your order. So let's get into the cards. I did a little pull, and this time I grabbed my OG deck, which is Kat Pierce's Wandering Star Tarot, and I did what I'm calling my 3-card signature pull, featuring the heart, the ache, and the pulse. So for the heart of the matter, on jealousy and comparison, I pulled the 10 of Swords. For the ache, I pulled the Wheel of Fortune, and for the pulse, the Ace of Wands. So let's get into it. For the energy at the heart of jealousy and comparison, we've got the 10 of Swords. And this card is one of those that when I flipped it over, it couldn't have been more on the nose. If you're familiar with the Rider-Waite deck of the 10 of Swords, it shows a figure lying face down on the ground with 10 swords in their back. The sky is black and still, and there seems to be like a finality to this card. It's a very powerful visual, one of the most ominous looking in the deck. This card represents a dead end, a poor me mentality, and maybe even betrayal. The swords are the mind, and so they represent mental anguish and despair in this scenario. And I think we can all agree that being jealous of someone or something does not feel good. Comparing yourself to someone else on their path is a dead end when it's coming from that place. And the 10 of Swords is the picture of where that energy is headed. It's dark. It's sometimes unavoidable. And yet, if you look closely at the card, the sun is still rising. It makes me think of times in my life when I've had a hard circumstance or things didn't go my way, and how life seems to come to a screeching halt for me, but everyone else and everything else is just business as usual. And it feels somehow wrong, but also it just goes to show, like in this instance, the sun still rises. I remember the very first time I went to the Americana Fest in Nashville. It was 2019, and Brandi Carlile was the keynote speaker. And all these artists and promoters and fans were crowded into this large hotel ballroom to hear her speak. And I'll never forget what she said. She talked about how in her younger years, she felt competitive with other women in music because there was usually only one festival spot for a female headliner, sadly. But she shared that as she aged and, made her way up, she realized she felt more free now to be collaborative and realized how much she wanted to use her platform to lift other voices. And she has been an extraordinary example of doing just that. But I want to go back to what I mentioned that she said about having just that one spot for the female artist and just thinking of how much of a badass she felt like when she was that one, instead of how effed up it was that there only was one spot. And I think that's a really good example of how that energy can be so sneaky and how the bigger system can be set up to play into that dynamic. I do feel that the tides are changing because we can all connect with each other online and see what each other is doing on our platforms and see the struggles and celebrate the wins with each other in real time. And I think that's key. It goes back to that expander philosophy that if they can do it, have it, or be it, it exists. And that means your version is available as well. I really feel that the 10 of Swords in this instance is here to remind us that the energy we are feeling is the lowest of low. It's the end of the rope. It's the breaking point. But can we lift up our head and see it as the beginning of a new story? Okay, let's look at the ache. We've got the Wheel of Fortune. And this is one of the major arcana cards. And this card is saying, the wheel keeps turning And like it or not, there are forces in life that are beyond our control. There are ups, there are downs, and we cannot stop the wheel from turning. The good times don't last forever, but neither do the hard times. This card really invites us to look at our relationship to change and how we move with it or how we resist it. And I feel like I talk a lot about patterns and stories and noticing them and deciding if we want to carry that forward. And sometimes when I think about something that I wish I had or a way I wish something had happened for me, I stop and think about, how would this thing fit into my current life if nothing changed? If I was not willing to make any adjustments for this thing, is it really possible? And I think that's something to think about when we look at or compare ourselves to someone or something else. Is there room for what we say we want in our lives? Are we willing to make adjustments? Sometimes I think we subconsciously push things away without realizing it. Like, here's an interesting little exercise if you're game. What is the bougiest thing that you want? I feel like an expensive car is a good one to think of because we all usually need a car at some point. So let's say if you went out and just bought yourself a fancy car, how would the people closest to you react? Would they be excited for you, or would they be judging you? Like, who does she think she is? What would that bring up for you? Not that it matters what other people think, but I just think sometimes when you rise up out of the status quo, would that change your friend group? Would your family have big thoughts about it? Just something interesting to note, because as we know, we like to be safe. And something like that might make our nervous system feel a little threatened and be just enough to kind of keep it orbiting us, but never really landing. I hope that makes sense. These are just little things that I sometimes try and think about when I'm trying to get clear on my wants and my whats and my whys. And it's really helpful for me to see where I'm staying somewhere because it's second nature rather than stretching or growing in a new direction. So the Wheel of Fortune is here to have us take a look at our patterns around what we think about people who have what we want, and the patterns that we might have to consider for ourselves of what we might need to change. Okay, let's check the pulse, which is the Ace of Wands, and I love this card. It's that invitation to embrace new beginnings and to take bold steps forward. If you tuned in last week, we spoke about this card as well. It's a fire card, and fire represents our passions, our creativity, and our spark. It's that hand reaching forward seemingly out of a cloud and offering a new wand with budding little leaves. This card is an invitation to find a new perspective and maybe view challenges as opportunities for growth, like we were just talking about. This is uncharted territory, like the Wheel of Fortune. It's an optimistic card. I feel that in the energy of jealousy and comparison, this card just decides to leave that behind and choose to be inspired instead of dragging the energy down to that level. It's asking you to trust yourself and your capabilities. Start small, start with curiosity, and remember that inspiration follows action. So I love how this whole little check-in has just seemed to reinforce that idea of lifting each other up, and that the jealousy and comparison is the absolute complete opposite, dead end. So let's rise together, y'all. Okay, that is the story that the cards are telling us this week. I would love to know what you think, and I'll be back next week with another new topic. And in the meantime, head over to Made of Dreams podcast on Instagram and follow along and say hello. I've started a brand new page over there, and I'd love to hear from you. I've also started a brand new YouTube channel for the show, and if you're not watching, you should check it out sometime. I have a really cool intro video, and I show you the cards on the screen as I'm talking about them. And now you get to see me struggle through having adult braces. So if I've sounded a little funny today, you know why. Anyway, if you're enjoying this podcast, please consider subscribing and leaving a 5-star review on your platform of choice, because it really does help the show grow. And if you know someone who you think would love this episode, it would mean the world to me if you shared it. If you'd like to learn more about me or the show, head over to madeofdreamspodcast.com and sign up for my Dreamer's Digest, and I will send you my creative state checklist to help keep you in the flow. I'm going to leave you with a song of mine. This one is called Set You Free, and in the meantime, dream on.
Gonna love, gonna leave. Gonna take you back, honey. Take what you please. And I don't ask for nothing from you. Give what you got. I don't care